Welcome to the PIKE AutoPRO 7 software configuration video for the PIKE AutoDiff 2 accessory. By the end of this video, you'll have learned the simple steps to get you started setting up your first sample profile. From adding new users and Spectra data files, to setting up background collection, macros, and more. The first time you start your software, you'll need to configure it for the accessory and your FTIR software package. Start by clicking on New. Enter a profile name. Select the AutoDiff 2 accessory from the drop-down menu. AutoPRO automatically selects the FTIR software package it found on your PC, but you may select a different one if you wish. To make this your default software package, click here. Click Accept. You only need to do this once. These settings are saved with your profile. You are automatically brought to the first screen in the Profile Editor window. You'll simply work left to right through the toolbar across the top to edit your profile and set certain parameters. In this first screen, you will configure your AutoDiff 2 accessory. The PIKE AutoDiff 2 is a unique accessory that allows the user to save meaningful data by creating multiple fields for each sample. It offers 60 sample positions. The stage of the AutoDiff is comprised of 6 segments labeled A through F. Each segment has 10 sample positions. Start by entering your company name. To select a segment, click on its corresponding letter. Let's start with segment A. Click on Configure to create the fields that you want to save with each sample position. In this example, we'll configure 4 different fields. Name the fields here: username, sample name, lot code, and date code. This information will be saved with your Spectra and can be exported to an Excel spreadsheet, or you can import fields and data from a previously saved spreadsheet. Each sample in segment A now has these 4 fields associated with it. Each sample is labeled position 1, position 2, position 3, and so forth. Double-click on a field to enter data. You may assign a user to a sample. Click this icon to select a user, or click here to add a new user. Let's add a new user named Bob Smith, who is working in the R&D department. We can assign Bob a color. Let's select orange. Click Save. Bob is now saved in our user list. To select him for this segment, click on User List. Click on Bob's name, then Accept. Click Accept again. Now we have a user assigned for the first position in segment A. Now we will enter a sample name, a lot code, and a date code. If you wish to use the same information again, simply right-click in the Position field to fill down the information into more positions in this segment. This information will be saved with your Spectra. Let's create a user for segment B. Click on B to jump directly to the beginning of that segment. Double-click on the User field. Create a new user, then enter their information. We'll select the color purple for Joycelyn. Save. Then click on User List to select Joycelyn. Let's enter her sample. Lot code, and date code. We will fill down this information for all of segment B. We now have 2 segments set up with 20 samples total. Segment A for Bob Smith is comprised of 10 samples of acetaminophen, and segment B for Joycelyn Holmes is comprised of 10 samples of caffeine. We can now export this information to an Excel spreadsheet. It is a comma-delimited file. Name your file and choose the location on your computer where you want it saved. Now it's time to configure the background. There are a few options for collecting a background. You can collect it once at the beginning of the experiment. You can repeat a background collection after a predetermined number of sampling points, or you can select a previously collected background to use. Next, we'll move to file naming. This is where you'll name your profile and decide on the method for naming your spectral file. Please note there are no spaces allowed in the spectral file names. There are different options for naming your spectra files. Timestamp creates a unique file name for each sample collected, containing the year, month, day, and time of collection. Or you may create a custom root file name using, for example, a lot number or a certain username. AutoPRO will automatically append the sample position to the end of your file name. To help make sorting your samples easier, you may wish to append particular AutoDiff fields to your file name. Click on the down arrow to select a field to append. You can see an example here of how it builds the file name using your selected fields. Next, review the location on your computer where your spectra will be saved. The default location is your root drive in the Spectra folder. If you would like to change the folder, click on Browse, then select the folder in which you wish to save your spectra. Next, confirm the selection of your spectrometer. It will default to the instrument AutoPRO found upon opening. If you would like to change it, click Browse, then navigate to your executable file of choice. The next button is for creating custom macros. You can create a macro to run before the experiment is run, after the experiment is completed, before each sample is collected, and after each sample is collected. An example of a pre-experiment macro is configuring your spectrometer software or opening an Excel spreadsheet. A post-experiment would be generating a report or exporting to an Excel spreadsheet. A pre-sample macro might be setting up specific collection parameters. And an example of a post-sample macro is doing a PIKE or a library search. We have finished programming the profile. Click on Point Map to review the sample positions as we configured them. We can see Bob Smith's samples in segment A and Joycelyn Holmes in segment B. One of the many benefits of AutoPRO 7 is the optional oversampling feature. The oversampling motion collects multiple measurements within one sample position. The spectrum produced is an average of all the measurements taken within that one position. This allows you to collect more spectral information from each sample cup. To activate this feature, click on Oversampling Motion, then Setup to configure collection parameters. Assign a scan area diameter. This increases or decreases the area within the cup where the scanning occurs. If random motion is selected, the The stage will move to random points within your designated area, stop and collect data, then randomly move to another point for collection. Enter the number of points at which data collection is triggered. If circular motion is selected, the stage will move in a continuous circular motion within the specified diameter during the scan. This will result in an averaged scan over the surface of the sample. Now it is time to click on File, then Save and Exit to save our entire first profile. Here we see a summary of our configured sample positions. You are now ready for operation.